Hey, what's up? Welcome back to this new video. This one is paper 1-2 of May-June 2022. So with that being said, let's move on to questions. I'll try my best to explain everything as simple as possible. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. So, of course, we cannot use a calculator in this paper at least. Now, let's move on to question number 1. So here, what do we have? We have to work out the fractions. As we can see, we have 2 over 3 plus 1 over 6. So whenever we have plus or minus for fractions, what should we do? What do we think about? We have to look at the base, at the denominators. Here we have 3 and here we have 6. So we have to make them become the same thing. So now we do realize we can make 3 become 6, right? 3 times 2 is 6. So we times 2 here and we times 2 here. So the reason why we times 2 here and here is because we do not want to change the fraction in itself. That's why we have to do it. That becomes 4, and that becomes 6. This is 1 over 6, right? So what do I mean by not changing the fraction? If you were to simplify this, you would get 2 over 3 back. Make sense? That's what I mean, not changing the fraction. Now, since the base are the same, now we can combine them. So we have 1 about here, 6 the same. Here we have 4 plus 1 will be 5. So the answer will be 5 over 6. That will be your answer for part A. Now let's move on to part B. So we have decimal 0.4 times 0.2. So now the thing is that usually it can be confusing because of the decimals. So how do we solve this kind of question? So what do we do first is we first ignore the decimal place. So we write this as 4 times 2. Pretty easy. 4 times 2 is 8. Now in this first number we have 1 decimal place, right? In this one we also have 1 decimal place. So 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. That will be a sum of 2 decimal places. So 2, count, 1 and 2, it will be here. So the answer will be 0.08. Now let's move on to question number 2. So here we have Asha asked a group of students about their favorite fruit. The table and the pictogram show some of the results. Okay, so we have tables. We just have to fill out the table with the information that we have over here, right? Now part 1 is we have to complete and we have to write down the mode. So I think the drawing will be using this key right here. So this one circle represents 4 people. So let's count. Here we have 1, 2, 3 circles. If one circle is 4 people, 3 circles, 3 times 4 will be 12 people. Banana will be 12. Makes sense, right? Okay, that will be part 1, I guess. Let's go on. Now what else? Here we have melon. So we have this and we have this. Now here we have 1, that will be 4 people. And how much is this one? So by observation, we understand this is 3/4, right? 3/4 of the whole thing. So 3/4 of the whole thing is 4 people. That will be 3. So 4 plus 3, that will be 7. So melon will be 7. Table complete. Now move on to this one. We have to draw now. Try your best. Of course, use a pencil to draw these kind of diagrams. So here we have apple. We have 8 people. We know this one full circle is 4. So with this divided by 4, we have 2. So we have to draw 2 circles. 1 and 2. Just try your best to draw these 2 circles. Now moving on, we have what else? We have this one, orange. Now what is orange? Orange is 5. What is 5? You will say 5 is equal to 4 plus 1. Now we know that 4 is 1 circle. So 1 circle. Now what is 1? Interesting. So let's derive that step by step. So what if we take half a circle? So 1 circle is 4. Half a circle will be what? You would say half a circle will be 2. Now what is half of a circle? That will be 1/4. and that will be 1. So 1 will be that shape. If that makes sense, right? Hopefully that does. Now obviously you can draw this way, you can also draw this the other way. Is still a quarter. Should not be any difference. That will be part A of your question. Now part B, we have to write down the mode. The mode is, let's find out which one is the most popular, which one was mentioned the most times in this survey. As you can see, we have 12, right? Banana will be the mode. And that will be your question, part B, number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So we have A, B are vertices of a quad. Now, first thing first, what do you understand by this word? It is a four-sided shape. I'm sure you have seen this before as well in your life, right? If you think of a square, or I guess in this case, a rectangle, it is a quad because it has 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what we call a quadrilateral. So we have A, B are vertices. Vertices means the endings, these ones. So these are called vertices of a shape. Now A, B are vertices. Okay, fair enough. Line L is a line of symmetry of a quad. Now what is a line of symmetry? The line of symmetry is a line which basically cuts the shape exactly into half. For example, if I draw my line of symmetry here exactly into half, you would say this is the same thing as this, and this will be called a line of symmetry. Okay, now using that information, we have to find the coordinates of the other two. So pretty easy. Since this line cuts this shape into exactly in half, we will use reflection, right? It has to be the same on both sides. Makes sense. So here we count. Half will be here, and one square should be here. So the 2 points should be, first one should be 3, 4, and then we have 4, 2. So these are the 2 points we were looking at. Now if you want to confirm, you can obviously join the points just to have a confirmation, right? So here we have this, join with that. So we do confirm it is a four-sided shape, so a quad basically, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and this line here divides it exactly into two equal pieces, half. So that's why we confirm these are the 2 vertices that we were looking for. That will be question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. The temperature inside Luke's house is 18 degrees Celsius. The temperature outside his house is -3. Now we have to find the difference between those temperatures. So the difference will be taking the maximum temperature minus the minimum temperature. That will be 18 minus be plus, become plus. That will be 21. 21 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now let's move on. What else do we have here? Part B. Now it says Luke's thermometer measures the temperature correct to the nearest degree. Now whenever you see that, it means 1 unit, so nearest 1 degree Celsius. Okay, that's what it means. Now at midnight, the thermometer measures the temperature outside as -6. So this is the value that we measured. So this is the value that we measured. Now we have to find the upper bound of the value that we measured. So how do you find the upper bound or lower bound? We take the value that we measured. So we are using a formula basically. The value measured, which is -6, plus minus to the nearest something, which is 1 degree, divide this by 2. So this will become the upper bound. So -6 plus half will be minus 5.5, and -6 minus half will be minus 6.5. So here we have to find the upper bound. Obviously, we'll take this value, which is minus 5.5 degrees Celsius. And that will be your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. The scale drawing shows the positions of 2 villages, A and B. As you can see, here we have A, and here we have B, 2 villages. Now, very important thing is to use the scale given to you. 1 centimeter represents 2 km. Now, one thing I want to advise is that obviously I print those papers, right? So it may not be the direct dimensions as the exam. So whenever it comes down to drawings, graphs, I may not have the exact value that you would expect on the marking schemes, because it depends on how do I print the papers, right? I don't know exactly in the exams what sizing they use, so but this is what I got here. So I will use that. As long as you understand how to find the answer, that's what it matters. So here we have this, and what else do we have? So we have to use the information given to you. We have to find the actual distance between village A and B. Village A and B. So let's do that. So let's first measure. So let's join these two, A to B. Try your best to find the exact measurement. So for me, obviously I have to say for me because it's my dimensions. So A to B, that will be from 0 to this. For me it shows to be, so 7 here, 7.5, 7.7. For me it shows to be 7.7 centimeters, right? This is what you saw as well. Now we have to find the distance in km. So we understand that 1 centimeter is 2. 7.7 will be what? Will be times 2, right? 7.7 times 2 will be what? 7 times 2 will be 14. 14 plus 1, 5. So the actual distance according to my drawing will be 15.4 km. That will be part A. Now for part B, we have to measure the bearing of B from A. So B from A. So from that point, we have to first look at A. So what are we measuring? So from A, from this north line, we have to go to B. So go to B right here. So we have to measure this angle. Now obviously you have to use your instrument, which I don't have with me. So try your best, use instrument to measure that value. This angle right here, pretty easy. You will just flip this, have your instrument right here to measure the value of this angle. So this is pretty easy. I'll leave that up to you guys to find this. It's just measurement, no calculation, just measurement. Now let's move on to part B, part 6, sorry, of your question. Now we have Kabir invests $250 into a savings account. This is the amount that he invests. The account pays a simple interest. So now we know it is a simple interest, not compound interest, of a rate. This is rate per year. Okay. Now we have to find the amount of interest he will receive, the amount of interest he will receive at the end of this. So let's see. So we do know that the amount of interest, so interest will be what? It will be the principal, the amount invested, the principal, I guess call this P, the principal, right? So 250 times the interest rate, 1.5%. Percent will be divided by 100, right? That's what it means. For example, when I say 10%, 10% means 10 over 100. That's what it means. 1.5%, it means this. Now we have 4 years times 4. So let's try to simplify this. What do we have here? So 0 cancels 0. Divided by 5, you will have 2. 5 times, so divided by 2, you have 1, you have 2 here. So here 2 times this will be 3. 3 times 5 will be 15. Okay, so he will make $15 in interest. So find the total amount of interest he will receive. That will be $15. So now if he asks you find the total amount he received, that will be the principal plus 15. That should be the total amount that he received at the end. Now let's move on to question number 7. So here we have the area of a rectangle, this shape right here, okay. And we also have the area of a triangle right here, okay. So these values are given to you. We have to find the area of this region. So by observation, you can see that if you want to find the area of this region, we have to take the whole thing minus this small thing. Makes sense, well, logically. So we have to give the answer in centimeter square. So we have to convert this to this, right? So first thing first, 1 centimeter is equal to how many millimeter? So I guess through experience, through practice, you guys should know this, right? You guys should know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters and so on. So this will become 10. Now, if you were to square both sides, because here we're dealing with area, let's square both sides. You will have 1, so 1 square is 1. Centimeter square should be equal to 100 millimeters square. Right. So why do we find this? We have to convert this to this. Now we have to convert, so we know 100 millimeters square is equal to this. So what is 1 millimeter square? You would say it will be 1 divided by 100 centimeters square. Makes sense, right? Hopefully. 100 this equal to this 1. So let's divide both sides by 100 to make this become 1. So you have 1 here equal to 1 over this. Now triangle, we have 85. So if 1 is equal to this, 85 will be 85 times this. Will be this. So now we complete the conversion. So basically, the area of the triangle is equal to this. So now using that information, we can find the area. So to find the whole thing, it is 9 minus this one will be 0.85. That should be 8.15 centimeters square, right? And that is your answer for part 7. So 8.15 centimeters square. So first thing first, convert this to centimeter square, and then using that to minus, because we have to minus the same units. We cannot take this minus this directly. It will not be possible because of different units. Now let's move on to question number 8. So here we have the diagram shows a pentagon. Pentagon is a shape with 5 sides, right? 5 sides. So we have to use the knowledge of angles here to find the value of A. Value of A will be this angle right here. Now the question is, how do we find the sum of interior angle of a shape? We use the formula. So we have 5 sides, so 5. The formula is actually number of sides minus 2 times 180. We use this formula to find the sum of interior angles of a shape. Here we have 5 sides. Replace, you will have 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 times 180. So let me show you step by step, because that's what you guys need. Times 3. 0 times 3 is 0. 8 times 3 is 24. 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5. So in total, if you add every angle in this shape, you are supposed to have 540 degrees. Now obviously we have to use subtraction 1 by 1 to find the value of A. So let's do 1 by 1. No big deal, right? So 540 minus 110. 0, 3, 4. Done. Next, let's minus 125. So you see 2 here, 10 here, that will be 5, 0, and 3. Done. Let's minus 65. 550, that should be 24, right? 30 minus 6. So 65 done. And finally, we have to minus back the 95, the last one. So 95, that will be 3. 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Now we have 3. We cannot take 1 out. 10. 10 minus 9 will be 1. 1 plus 3 will be 4. That will be 1. So angle A will be 145 degrees. So step by step, first find the sum of the angles in this shape, and then use that to find the remaining missing side. Now let's move on to question number 9. So Shani makes a sequence of patterns using counters, as you can see from the diagram. So first complete the table below. Obviously sequence, we have something in common happening, we have to observe. When the pattern was 1, we had 5, 2, we had 8, 3, we had 11. So what's happening? By observation, we can see every time we are increasing by the same number, plus 3, from every sequence, in every sequence. So obviously we will expect the same, right? So 11 plus 3, that will be 14, plus 3, that should be 17. That is part 1 of your question. Now we have to find an expression in terms of n. So since we have the common difference, here have plus 3, we write plus 3n to begin with. Now, we do know that the first term is equal to 5, so if n is equal to 1, we are supposed to get 5, but here we have 3. 3 times 1 is 3. But how can we make 3 become 5? 3 plus 2. So same idea, we plus 2 here as well. So this will be your nth term for the pattern. Here you go, that will be part B. Now let's move on to part C. So here we have Shani has 100 counters. She uses sum to make the pattern 20. So pattern 20 is when n equal to 20. So replace, you have 3 times 20 plus 2. That will be what? 62. So which means she uses 62 counters to make that. So remaining we will have 100 minus this, that will be 38. Now we have to find the value of k. So obviously when n is equal to k, what do we have? Right. So let's see. So replace, so 3 times k plus 2. Remaining we had 38. That will be 3k has to be 36. K has to be 36 divided by 3. And that will be the value of 12. And this is your answer for question part C and question number 9. Alright, let's move on to question number 10. A bag contains red balls, so we have red balls, blue balls, and green balls. Okay. Now, what do we have? The ratio of red to blue. So the ratio is just fraction. Understand that ratio is also known as fraction in a way, right? So red to blue, so red to blue fraction is equal to 3 over 8. That's the first one. Second one, green to blue is equal to 2 over 5. This is given to you. Now, question is, we have to work out the fraction of balls that are blue. Okay, so basically now we are trying to find the ratio of red, green, and blue, so that we can find the fraction of the balls, of the total number of balls that are blue, the fraction, the ratio. We can use fraction and ratio word interchangeably, so that's what it means. So we have to find this kind of ratio right now. That's what it means. So, so what can we do? As you can see here, in these two fractions, we have blue and blue in common, right? Here we have 8, and here we have 5. So how can we sort of make it become the same, so that we can actually compare, right? So we do know that 5, a multiple of 5, we have 40. Multiple of 8, we also have 40. So that's where they kind of meet, they match. I hope that makes sense, because we are trying to make them become the same so we can express them in a single line, one by one, right? So 5 times what become 5 times 8 is 40. Now when you times 8 here, you also have to times 8 over here. That will be 16 over 40. 8 times 5 is 40. Times 5 here as well, so we don't change the whole expression. That will become 15 over 40. Now the reason why we are trying to make this become the same is so we can express them in a single line. Because we know that the ratio to red to blue can also be expressed as 15 to 40. And green to blue can also be expressed as 16 to 40. Now, because the 40 is the same, we can write them together. That will be 40 here. We know that green to blue, it was 40 to 16, so we can write 16 here. Red to blue, because it's 40, we can write this in the same line. That will be 15 here. So that's the ratio of the three colors compared side to side. Hopefully that makes sense. Why did we do this? So we can have this. Right. Now in the end, we don't care about green or blue, green or red. We have to only care about blue. What is a fraction? The fraction will be blue, will be 40 over the total number of balls. We have to add everything. So 15 plus 16, that will be 31, plus 40, 71. So total will be 71. Here you go, 40 over 71 will be the ratio of the balls that are blue. Again, try to understand why I did this to have these two matching. So only because of that, only because they are the same, now I can put them in the same line and compare the ratios with each other, right? Because we know that when it's 40, red is 15. When it's 40, green is 16. So when I put 40 here, Now I can compare these two as well because we have a same denominator as well. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense, but eventually you guys will understand through practice. Right. Now let's move on to question number 11. So here we have to use a ruler and compass to construct the bisector of angle PSR. So PSR will be the angle right here. This one, the angle in the middle. So we have to draw this bisector. Now this is kind of mechanical. Basically, there's a procedure step on how to find that, draw that lines and all that shit. So one by one, you have to first go to your point S. Now measure a distance, anything that you would like, doesn't really matter. Go here. You have to kind of draw this here, right? And then same here on the point S, draw something over here. Now using the same distance, go here, here, right? And then of course you have to make sure that they intersect. So go here and make sure they join. So you see the point where they intersect, right here we have to join these two to kind of form the bisector of angle S. So here you go. This is your answer for part A. So that will be pretty easy. Now for part B, what do we have? We have a point X which lies inside, so inside of the shape, it doesn't go outside, and is closer to PS than RS. So closer to PS, so P is over here, R is over here, obviously has to be closer to this side, so it should be on this side, right? It will not be on the other side. Now again, some people would ask me is, does the lines need to be solid or dotted? It doesn't really matter in this case. We're not dealing with inequalities here. That's fine. In this case, you can just leave this as such, but you have to make sure you shade this side so we can show that it's closer to this side than this side. That will be question number 11. Now let's move on to question number 12. So we have to write this number right here, correct to 3SF. Not too bad. So as we have seen in the examples before, in the previous papers, whenever we have 0 in front, we have to ignore them. So we don't count these ones. So here we have 1, 2, and 3. So from here, we have to look at this number right here. We have to think, is this number more or equal to 5? The answer is yes. Because of that, we have to add 1 to the previous number. So that will become 0.00204. And this is your answer for part A. Now again, let me try again just to explain better. So we have 0.00203,561. Right. Now because it begins with zeros, we ignore the zeros at first. So we have 0, 0, 0 here. We ignore them. This is the first number, right? Now we need 3SF. We count 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. So leave this by itself for now. Now we look at the number after here. We ask ourselves, is this number more or equal to 5? The answer is yes, it is equal to 5. Because of that, we have to add 1 to the number before. So 203 plus 1 will be 204, and hence we'll have this as your answer in 3SF. So that's how you basically find that value, right? Now for part B, we have to write the number correct to 1SF to find these values. Same logic behind, so 3.93. So 1SF, here does not begin with 0, so we can have this one number and look at this one. Is this more or equal to 5? The answer is yes, so we add 1. So 4 plus 1 will be, so 3 plus 1 is 4, and the rest becomes 0. Same thing here, 63.7. 1SF, look at the first one, and ask ourselves, is this number more or equal to 5? The answer is no, so we don't change the first one, and this becomes 0. And finally, this one as well, 0.425. Here we have 0, we ignore that. Here we have 4. And then we look at the next one, right? So one number, next one. Is it more or equal to 5? The answer is no. So it becomes 0. That will be 0.400. and replace back to your main equation. You will have root of 4 times 60 divided by 0.4. So that will be 2 times 60 over 0.4, and that should be divided by 2, 0.1, sorry, 2, divided by 2, that'll be 30, 0.1. That'll be 30 divided by 0.1, that should be 300, right? The idea is we can multiply by 10, so it becomes 300 over 1, which is 300. Makes sense, right? That will be your question, part B, for number 12. Now let's move on to question number 13. So we have to find this value. Evaluate means finding the value, solving that operation here. So root of 9, we have to know it is 3. Now we have a cubic root of 64. You can always try. So what have we learned so far? We know that 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 will be 64. So we understand that 64 is actually 4 power 3. So cubic root of 4 power 3, that should be 4. Now replace back in the equation. What do you have? You will have 3 here, right? 3 here, times 4. This is 4, right? We have seen this is 4. And then square. That will be 12 square, that is 144. That is part A of your question. Now let's move on to part B of your question. Write down an irrational number between the values of n, between the values which satisfy this inequality. Now usually, how do we find this? So let me give you an example before this so we can actually come to an easier conclusion. For example, what if I tell you to find an irrational value n which satisfy this inequality? For example, let me write 2 and 3. So usually the step is we understand that square roots are usually irrational numbers. It cannot be expressed as a fraction. That's what it means. So what can we do here? So we do understand that 2 is also equal to what? Square root of 4. And 3 is also equal to the square root of 9. Makes sense. Now, what are the numbers in between? The numbers in between can be what? It can be from, you would say it could be square root of 5, square root of 6, square root of 7, square root of 8. Make sense? Of course, there's more numbers in between. I'm giving you an example right now just to illustrate what can we have. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until 9. Now, obviously, these numbers will be all be irrational, which means that it cannot be expressed as a fraction. So you could choose anything from this list as an irrational number. So same knowledge here, same kind of concept. Let's bring this here. We have 4.5. What if we square them? Square root. And then here we have n. What if you square them? 5.5 square. Now we do understand that here we have 4.5 and 5.5. In between we have 5, right? So what is 5 squares? 25. So root of 25 will be in between. Obviously, here we will have root of 24. Here we have root of 26, and so on and so forth. I will just choose something really close so that I can use them as an irrational value. If that makes sense. Because here I do not want to bother calculate those values. You'll be something kind of far away. So if you want to try just to confirm your answers, you can always do that. For example, we have 5.5 times 5.5. So 5 times 5 will be 25, 27, 25 again, right? And 27. That will be 5. That will be 12, right? And that should be 30. So your value here, the maximum bound will be root of 30.5. So by choosing this, you are right. It is inside this range, and this value is this. Hopefully that makes sense. I was just trying to find the simplest way for you guys to derive this value so we can use this for your answer. It's only 1 mark, by the way. It should not be very hard, as you can see. From this we can kind of use that knowledge to kind of derive this from here to find the value that we need to find again. So you can watch this again just to understand what I did. So now let's move on to question. Okay, so now we have question number 14. So we have to write these numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. Now, since they are being represented differently, it is kind of hard for us to tell which one is smallest or largest. So let's try our best to make it become kind of the same so we understand which one is smallest and largest. So change this to these decimals, so that will be 0.002. So it will be 0.02, right? So now by comparing, obviously we would know which one is the smallest. Smallest will be, so this one has one more zero to it because it's 4, right? So one more zero to this one. So this one will be the smallest. 2 times 10 power minus 4. Then we will have this one, which is 0.002. And then we're going to have this one, 2 times 10 power minus 2. And that will be 2000, which is the largest one. That is part A of your question. Now, part B of your question is, it is a calculation using numbers in standard form. Again, I think this is important here because it mentions that it is given to you in standard form, right? Now, here we have what? We have to use this to find the value of A and B. So one thing at a time. Here we have A multiplied by 10 power minus 7 divided by 5 times 10 power B. Let's simplify this. That will be over 5 multiplied by 10. If you want to bring this up, that will be minus 7. Because here we have divided, it will be minus b. Has to equal to 4 times 10 power minus 16. Now by comparison, here we will have what? We will have what? We will have a over 5 is equal to 4. And then here we will have 10 power minus 7 minus b has to be 10 power minus 16. So simplify, a here has to be 20. And here we have this cancel out. You will have minus 7 minus b has to be minus 16. So b will have to be the value of, send this over here, that will be 9. Again, but the question here, the thing here is we do realize that this is not good. Why? Because we know that if a is 20, for example, if a is 20, that will become 20 times 10 power this. In this case, it's not good enough because we are being told that it will express in standard form. So it has to be 2. It has to be 2 times 10 times 10 power this. So this will be the value of a, which is 2. Now what happens to b? B is 9. Well, we kind of have to give this to b. So if you see by observation here, we have b is 9, b this will be 5 times 10 power 9 for now. And if you give this to b, that will be 2. Let me find some space, right? Because this is not good enough space. So let's say here we have 2 times 10 times 10 power 7 as needed here, divided by 5 times 10 power b. B is 9 for now. Here, obviously, we are supposed to get this times this. So we don't need this for now. This is done. But this is the interesting part, right? So we are trying to get rid of this one. So if you were to get rid of this one into here, what happens to the value of 9? So this is this. Since we were dividing, this was at the bottom. So let me rewrite this again because I don't have space. That was, I guess maybe I'm complicating things, but the idea is that because it is said it is in standard form, we have to keep in mind we cannot have 20 here, we can have 2. Right, 2 is standard form. Now the only thing we have to displace will be the value of 10. We have to remove this 10. Now here we have 10, 5 times this, power b, or 9, b whatever it is. So for now b is 9, right? We know that according to this for now. Now if you want to get rid of this, we send this down here. That will become what? That will become 5. Sorry, 5 times. So how, when you send this down, what happens to this? So it was 9. Now when we send this down, usually when you send it up, we have to minus. In this case, because if you think about this, if you were to combine those two, that will become minus 6. Minus 7 plus this is power 1 become minus 6. So you add here, you have to minus down here. If you send the minus down, that have to be 5 times 10 power 8. So this one has to become 8. So that's the value of B for part B. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, because we're just playing around those powers and numbers. First thing first, we have to understand that it is in standard form, so we cannot have 20. We cannot have 20 as your value for A. Because of that, we rewrite 20 as 2 times 10. Now 2 is a good value for A because it is in standard form. Now here we have given to you, we cannot change that, 10 power this one. So now the only thing to change is we can send this 10 power 1 to B. Now when you send this to B, we just have to find out what happens. Initially it was 9, but it cannot be 9 because we have 10 power 1 extra. We're going to have to play with that up and down to see what happens, so you will have this value for that. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Try it out for yourself. You can always check at the end to see what value makes sense, right? And now what else? So we have this. And now we have to move on to part 15. So 15 is, we have y is directly proportional to x minus 1 power 2. We can rewrite this equation as y equal to k x times 1, so minus 1 power 2 square. Now the idea is we have to find the value of k. So here we have x equal to 5. When x equal to 5, the value is equal to 32. We have to use this given value to find the value of k. So that will be 32. k, x will be 5 minus 1. That is k is equal to 32 divided by 16, and that will be your value of what? 2. Makes sense, right? Now we know that y is equal to 2x minus 1 square. Now simplify. Find the value of y when x equal to minus 2. Replace in the equation, so y is equal to what? 2. X is minus 2 minus 1 square. 2, that will be minus 3 square. That will be 2 times 9, and that should be 18 for your value of y. And that is your question. Now let's move on to question number 16, which is a graph question. So here we have y equal to this thing is drawn on the grid. As you can see, by drawing a tangent, we have to estimate the gradient at the value of x equal to minus 1. Now we'll look at x equal to minus 1. It is here, right? Now on the graph, it will be on this point right here. Now we have to draw a tangent at that value. So try your best. A tangent is a line, is a straight line that crosses, that touches the line at exactly that point. So try your best to draw a line that touches that point exactly. So for me, it shows to be something over here. That is my tangent. Again, my value may be a bit different from yours. It depends how well you draw the tangent. Okay, now we have to draw the tangent, estimate the gradient at this. So we have to estimate, so we have to find 2 points. So let me see, what points can I find to use to find the gradient. For example, I will try to use this one, which is 1, 0. And I'll try to use this one, which is minus 1.5. and then 6. Okay, so I will use those points. So minus 1.5, 6, and 1, 0. That will be y2 minus y1, so 0 minus 2 over x, so minus 6, sorry. 0 minus 6. 1 minus 1.5. Okay, that will be minus 6 over the value of minus, sorry, so 1 plus 2.5 will be 2. 1 plus 1.5 will be 2.5. Now we can obviously simplify. Let's try this. Simplify this. If I multiply by 10, you will have minus 60 over 25. If I multiply by 4, you will have what? You will have minus 240 over the value of 100. So your value will be minus 2.4 will be the approximate value for my gradient. Again, you don't need to simplify, it's up to you. I think when you simplify in this way, for you guys at least, you will have a reference point to your marking scheme. You can see the value in which it may lie. But the point is how do you draw the tangent? You have first to find the point minus 1 right here. And then try your best to draw the line which cuts the graph at exactly that point, and then find 2 passing points on that line, just like I did, and you find the value of the tangent. You use the formula to find that, obviously. Now let's move on to part B of your question. By drawing a suitable straight line, find the solution to this graph. Okay, so let's try. So we have to use the graph, obviously, again. Now, what is the equation of the graph? It was given to you by y equal to x cubed over the value of 5 minus 3x plus 2. Right. Now we do observe, here we have something like this, right? So here we have this and here we have this. So let's try to make this become the subject to see what happens. So x power 3 minus 5 minus 3x. We send this over here, you will have y minus 2. Now you can see here, this is equal to 0. So we replace this by 0. That will be 0 equal to y minus 2. So this will be y equal to the value of 2. So which means we have to draw this line on the graph. Y equal to minus, not minus 2, but 2. So right here, y equal to 2, you will have this value over here. Here you go. Now you have to label this graph y equal to 2. Now to find the solutions, basically we have to find the passing points. This point, and this one. So we have 3 values. We obviously have to show how did we find the answers. So try your best. This one right here, and this one right here. And this value is this one right here. So according to my values, it should be, this one is minus 3.9. So x is equal to minus 3.9, the value of 0, and this value of 3.9, according to my graph. Okay, that will be your question number 16. This is a fully graphed question. Again, to solve this question, you have to kind of observe, hey, by the way, I've seen this before, right? I've seen this on top, right here. So using this, and this, we have to find the equation of the line that we have to draw. So once you have this, draw this line, see where it cuts the curve, find the value, corresponding value of x on the x-axis for your solutions. That will be your question number 16. Now let's move on to question number 17. So here, what do we have? Ryan says each diagonal of a quad Q divides into 2 congruent, means 2 exactly the same isosceles triangle. Now what is an isosceles triangle? It is a triangle in which the 2 sides are the same. Okay, so draw a ring around each of the quads in this list for the statement is always true. Now again, you have to know what these shapes look like to solve this question. Now you know the shape of a square. You know, square is this, and they are all the same, right? Same. Now if you were to have a diagonal here, you can see this will be an isosceles triangle and an isosceles triangle. So obviously if you were draw another one here, it will also be the case. So square will be one of the options. Right angle, just draw something here. I mean, use your mind. It is just not possible. So right, if you draw this here and here, it will not be isosceles. It will be congruent, but it will not be isosceles. So not good. Rhombus, let's think. Rhombus will be equal sides. Right? Equal sides. Because of the equal sides, it kind of makes sense. Diagonal, same. Diagonal, same. So rhombus will be good as well. Now this one, obviously, just like the rectangle, it will not make sense. It will not be isosceles, right? Trapezium, shape of a trapezium, something like that. Obviously, it will not be kite will be something like this, right? Now, in this case, if you cut this this way, you will have two isosceles triangle, but if you cut this way, it will not be. So a kite will not be an answer. The only two will be square and rhombus, because you can see because all the sides are equal. That's the reason why. And plus, you have seen from this drawing itself, it kind of makes sense, right? Now let's move on to part B of your question. So we have AXB, okay? AXB is a straight line, and CXDI is also a straight line. X is the midpoint of AB, so AB will have X right here. And AC is in the same direction as DB, so these two are in the same direction. So from that, sometimes we have to derive that we're actually using the theory of alternate angles, because we know when two lines are in the same direction and we have a Z shape, we might use that theory, right? So we have to show the triangle AXC and is congruent to triangle BXD. So first thing first, we do know that the angle right here have to be the same because they are vertically opposite to each other. So let's write this down. So angle AXC is the same as angle BX because they are vertically opposite to each other. So you have to write vertically as well, but you get the idea. Opposite angles, vertical angles. That's part one. Now what else can we derive? Now we understand because of these two lines, right? These are the same direction. The interior angles right here have to be the same as well, right? So CAX is equal to B dx. So here this one dB dBx, because they are called the alternate angles. Number two. And finally, we do know that AX is the same as XBY because it tells you here X is the midpoint of AB, so these two have to be the same. So you write down AX is equal to XB. It is given. X is midpoint. Is midpoint. So now we have three reasons why. So we use all three. We say by. So here we have angles, side angles. So by ASA, we confirm that these two triangles, so they are congruent. Okay, so to prove congruency, we can use the two angles and the side in between to show that if these two correspond to each other, then it will be congruent. Okay, that will be question number 17. Now let's move on to question number 18. So here we have what? We have f of x is equal to 3x minus 7. We have to find the f inverse of this. So first, step 1, let y is equal to 3x minus 7. We have to make x become subject to find f inverse. So 3x is equal to y plus 7, right? Makes sense? Now x will have to be y plus 7 divided by 3. So finally, we confirm that f inverse of x, we have to replace the y by x because it is in terms of x. That will be x plus 7 over 3. Now let's move on to question 19. Here we have sets. So P union Q. Here we have P and Q. So P, that will be sets of. Here we have A. And here we have F. Here we have E. Here we have G. Here we have I. Here we have H. And here we have J. This will be your answer for part A. So the point is to combine those two but not repeat the same thing. Here you can see we have I and I, so we have just to write I once. We don't repeat that. That's what it means. Okay. So for part 2, well, let's find this one. So this is the union of Q and R. So let's first find that. So Q union R will be what? That will be C F D, so we're combining those two. G, so we have C, F, G, D, H, E, I, and j. So we don't want to repeat the f and j because f and g because they are the same, right? We don't repeat them, so we don't have extra values in this set. And then we have p prime. Everything outside of p, that will be what? So we don't need a, we have b, c, d, e, we don't need that, that will be gone, f, g, h, j. So this is p prime. Now we have to find the intersection, obviously, the number of elements. So here we have c, so 1, f, d, we are matching. So we have 3 now, g, here you go, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 6 will be the number of elements in those two sets. Just match them. Now for part B, we have to describe this. Use set notation to describe the shaded subset in this Venn diagram. So how can we find this? So one by one, we know it has to be between A and C. So A intersecting C. Now as you can see, it does not include this part, so it will be intersecting everything outside of B, right? So that we don't have this part. So this will be your answer for part B. So step 1 is, we know it is between A and C. We take this whole thing. But now we realize it does not include B, so we have to intersect everything outside of B. Outside, we have only this one, right? Or some people might find this hard to understand. We can do this step by step. For example, we have A, B, and C. So we can say first A intersecting C will be these two, right? Now intersecting everything outside of B, you can see what they join only here. So this is what we care about, so we confirm that this is the right answer, which will be A intersecting C, intersecting everything outside of B. That will be part B of question 19. Now let's move on to question number 20. So we have A, B, C, D are points on the circle center O. Alright, so here we have to find the angle ADB, so A, D, and B. So we have seen this many times, so we have to use the theory that angle at center is always twice the angle at the circumference. For example, here we know the angle at center is 70. So the angle at circumference have to be half of that. That will be 35. Okay, this is just a theory we have to know. Now, how do you know this is angle at center? You can see O is a center, angle at center, right? So let me write this down. We know that angle at center is twice the angle at circumference. That's the theory you need to know to solve this kind of question when you do observe this happening. Angle of center is 70, twice the angle of circumference that we don't know. So that should be 35. Now, angle at circumference will not be this whole thing, it would only be this one right here. Right? Because you can see, if you break it down, it is joined, the center here, O, is joined by AB, and this angle right here is also joined by AB. That's how we identify the angle at circumference, because they are joined by the same vertices. It will not be the whole thing, it's just that part right here, okay? That will be part 1 as your answer, 35. Now part B, we have to find the angle BCD. BCD, we'll have to find this whole thing. So one thing we know here is that if this is the center, we understand that this is the radius and this is the radius. So these are the same. So now we observe AOB as an isosceles triangle, which means these two angles are also the same. So if you do 180 minus 70, that will be what? 110. Divide by 2, that will be 55. Right? 55 for this one. Now we understand that this whole thing will be what? 55 plus 25. Plus 25, that will be 5 will be 10, 0, 10 here, that will be 80. This whole thing will be 80, which means that this angle right here have to be 180 minus 80, that should be 100. Because we have to understand that whenever we have a quad, which is A, B, C, D, which touches the surface of the circle, the opposite angle always add up to 180. So sum of this and this will be 180. If this is 80, this will have to be 100. So this is the kind of rules behind we have to know, the theories behind. This is the first one, angle at center has to be twice the angle at the circumference. And then we have to know that if the surfaces touches the circle, the vertices touches the circle, of course has to be four-sided, and the angle, the opposite angle, have to add up to 1. So this plus this have to be 180. This plus this have to be 180 as well. By using this kind of theory that we need to know, we can find the value. Now let's move on to question number 21. So here we have to factorize. Obviously we have to use brackets, factorize. So x squared, we have to have 2 brackets. Now, how do I know what to put here and here? Of course, it is by trial. I don't know the answer directly. I'll try and see what's possible. I know that 4 is 2, so I have 2x times 2. So 4x squared is 2x times 2x. Now 6 is what? 6 is 3 times 2, so 3 times 2. Let's try. Can we have plus 5? So 2 times 3 will be 6. 6, this is 4, and this is 6. So 6 and 4, we cannot get 5, so it will not be good to keep trying. So let's try 4x times x, and this will be 2 times 3, because 6 is 3 times 2 or 2 times 3, right? One of those. Now it's possible, because 4x times 2, if we plus this one, 4x times plus 2 will be plus 8 minus 3x, that should be plus 5. So here we confirm this is the right factorization. Again, factorization is not as direct as we would like it to be. We always have to kind of try and see for what's possible, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So step by step again, we do know that 4 is 2 times 2 or 1 times 4. So by trial, because of x squared, we have to have 2 brackets. If it was x cubed, we have to have 3 brackets. Now we try 2 times 2, doesn't work out. We try now 1 times 4. So 4 times 1. So x times x, because here we have x squared. Right. Now we do understand 6 is either 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. So here we have to get plus 5. So we use kind of our knowledge of trial. We understand that if you put 2 here and 3 here, because 3 derived from this, that will be 3 times 2, derived from the factors of 6, we can put 3 or 2 here, or we can try put 3 here and 2 here to try, right? We do this by trial. Now we have to get plus 5, so we try. We say 4x plus times plus 2, that will be plus 8x, right? And here we have 3x. So 8, we have to minus this, so minus this to get plus 5. So we get this confirmed, so plus 5 will be this factorization. Hopefully that makes kind of sense. Again, this is done by practice. If you keep doing factorization over time, you will be good at this. If you're not too good right now, that's okay. If you keep practicing by trial and error, you should be fine eventually. Now simplify this one. So first thing first, here we have a negative power. We want to make this become positive, so we first have to flip this inside upside down. X power 6 goes up, 16 goes down, and this will become positive. Now bring this in so we can simplify. So 6 times half will be 3, and 16 power half will be what? That will be x power 3. 16 power half is basically square root of 16. That will be x power 3 over the value of 4. This is your answer for part B. Now let's move on to question number 22. A bag contains these 9 tiles. Here we have isosceles. Okay, so let's group the same letters together. So here we have one I. We have N, 2, 3, so 3S. We have one O. We have one C. We have 2 E's. And we have one L. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 letters. We combine them together first. Now, Nell takes 1 tile from a bag and random. Okay, random. She notes the letter and then puts it back in the bag. Okay. We have to find the chance that she does not take the letter E. So if she does not take the letter E, she will take I, S, 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 O, C, O, L. So you will not take this one, you will take the rest. So we have 2 E's, we have 9 letters in total, the rest will be 7. So it will be 7 over 9 for the chance that she does not take E. Now for part B, she takes 2 tiles, 2, at random without, so here it is without replacement. Find the chance that both tiles show the same letter. Now to show the same letter, by observation, it can only be S or E. It can be S and S, E or E, because anything else, we have only one of them, it will not show the same letter. So S and S, right, same letter. So it will be, first time it will be 3 over 9 times, second time will be, because we take one S already, we'll go, have only 2 options, over 8. Or it could be E, right? So E will be, what? 2 over 9 times, 1 go away, 1 over 8. That will be what? Let's simplify. So this will be 6. Simplify, this will be 1, 4 actually. This will be 1 and 4 actually. So that will be 3 times 1 is 3 over 36 plus 1 over 36. That will be 4 over 36, which is 1 over 9. So this is your answer for part Now this is your answer for part B of your question number 22. Okay. Now let's move on to question number 23. Okay, so the diagram shows the major sector of a circle center O and radius 3. So the radius here is the value of 3. This is center O and this is a major sector. Now by observation, we can derive the angle over here as well. We know the sum of the angle will be 360. So 360 minus 80, that will be what? 2. So that will be 0, 0 here. That should be 10 here. 10, this will be 8. 280. So 280 will be the angle for the big one. This is simple subtraction. Now, we have to find the area of the sector and express in terms of k pi. So how do you find the angle of, the area of the sector? We take the angle measured, 280, divide by the whole thing, times pi r square. R is a radius, square will be 3 square. That should be, cancel, cancel. Divide by 4, that should be 7 over 9 times 9 pi. Simplify, simplify, that should be 7 pi as your answer right here. 7 pi will be this one. Again, this is just a formula. Area of a circle has to be pi r square. That's the main idea behind area of a circle. Now, to find the area of the sector, we have to use the angle, so 280 degrees divided by 360, and then times the area of the circle. Now let's move on to question number 24. So here we have to solve for the value of x from that equation. So how can we solve this? So first thing first, we can cross multiply. That will be 2 minus 5 equal to 3 times this, that will be 9x plus 30. Send all the x to one side, that will become 9 plus 5 will be 14x is equal to, send this over here, minus 28. X will be minus 2. Right? You can simplify step by step. Obviously, you will have x equal to minus 28 divided by 14. Divided by 2, you will have 7. 14, and that should be minus 2. Now for part B, expressed as a single fraction in its simplest form. So since the base are different, we can do cross multiply. So that will be 3 times this one. This is minus here, so 5 times this one. Cross multiply, right? Cross multiply. And then divide by this times this. X minus 2 times 2x plus 1. Now, simplify, that will be 6x plus 3 minus 5x plus 10. Be careful here, so minus 5 times minus 2 is plus. Be careful, right? Here we don't need to expand really, it's up to you. If you want to expand, you can expand. If not, leave this by itself. 6 minus 5 will be x plus 13 over x minus 2, 2x plus 1. And this is your answer for part B of your question. Now let's move on to question number 25. So here we have OABC and POPQR are parallelograms, as we can see in the diagram. So these two are the same direction, and these two are also in the same direction. That's the basic idea behind these two shapes. Now A is a point on OP, so A is right here, and C is a point on OR, is right here. These 2 points, as you can see. Now they are such that we have ratios. Ratios given to you that OA ratio to OP is 1 to 4. OC to CR is 2 to 3. Of course, we have to use this ratio to understand how to solve this, right? Now, first one is we have to find OR in terms of C. Now, basically it means from O, how can we go to R? By observation, you can see OR has to be OC, right? O go to C first, and then C, we go to R, right? That's how you find this. Now OC is given to you by the value of C, we just have to find the value of CR. So we can use the ratio given to you. Ratio is just fractions, so OC over CR is equal to 2 over 3. The value of OC, as we can see, is given to you by C. So replace, you have C, CR is equal to 2 over 3. Cross multiply, you will have 3C divided by 2 is equal to CR. So CR has to be 1.5C. So plus 1.5C. Sum of those two will be 2.5C. The value of OR is 2.5C. That's part 1. Now for part B, we have to find CQ. So from point C, go to Q. From point C, go to Q. By observation, you would say, from C, I can go to R, and plus R can go to Q, right? Now RQ, we know this already. This whole thing, what is the value? From what you can see here, if the ratio is OA over OP is given to you by 1 to 4, which means OP, if you cross multiply, it is 4 times OA. Now we know OA is a value of A. So OP, this whole thing, is 4A. Now obviously this and this are the same, so that will also be 4A. So RQ will be 4A. Now CR, we just found it was 1.5C. So 1.5C. So your answer will be 4A plus 1.5C, or if you want to express this as fraction, that will be 8A plus 3C over 2. Same thing, same stuff, right? That's part B. Now for part C, it's only 1 mark. So again, here we cannot assume they are similar because we are never told it was similar. So that's the first thing. So we have to use our observation skills to solve this question. Now again, it might be tricky for some of you, but since you know it is only 1 mark, so we have to kind of know it will not be that tough to solve this question, right? It should be kind of easy. So let's try. Let me use an example actually, just to make it easier. For example, let's say I have a rectangle. For example, if I tell you I'm taking a rectangle here from this rectangle. So this is side of 2, length of 2, and width of 1. For example, if I tell you this whole length here is, let's say it's 3, right? And this whole length here is, let's say it's, I'll give it the value of 8. Right, 8. I will ask you, what is the ratio of this one to this one? I know that usually we will be tempted to use calculation, or we'll say, okay, the area of a rectangle is length and width and all that. Yes, it is easy to use a rectangle to do that because we know all the values needed. But here we have this shape and we don't have the vertical height to use in our favor to find that value of the area and to find the ratio. But here let's use observation and see how can we find that value. Now we do realize that if this is 2, how many rectangles can we get along this line? For example, you would say, okay, this is 2, 2, 2, and 2. Right? Makes sense, right? Does it make sense? This is 8, so this is 2, 2, and 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 4 rectangles along the length. Along the height, this is 1. You would say this is 1, and this is 1. So 1 and 1. So we get 3, right? 3 is total. So we get 3 along the height. So the total number of rectangles we can get is, if you do the calculation or if you observe, we can just continue that way. You would say this will be this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now if I would ask you what is the ratio of this small rectangle to the big one, you will say it is 1 to 12. Because we know that we have 12 of this small one inside of this rectangle. Now same way here, for it to make sense, this is 4a, this is a, so we understand that we can get a, and a, 4a. This is c, and here we have 2.5c, that will be c, and c. Makes sense, right? So by calculation or by observation, you will have what? Let's try to draw this out so that you guys can at least have an idea. So you will get, of course, the drawing is not to scale, but the idea is the same. So we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is half and half. That will be 1. That will be 1. So 8, 9, and 10. So we understand that by observation, we are going to have 10 of those OABC inside of this one. So obviously the ratio will be 1 to 10. It was supposed to be an easy question. I mean, I think it's easy in this way where you observe and do the question, because it is quite impossible to find the area because you don't know the vertical height, right? Because usually to find the height of this shape, you know, the area is the length times the vertical height. So here we don't have the vertical height, so we cannot find the area directly to compare with one other. So we use observation to find the value 1 to 10, and that will be your question number 25. Okay, so I hope that was somewhat okay, not easy, but okay. And if you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next questions or next videos.